Hi guys, in this video I wanted to talk about sleep. So if you've got the book, then this is literally just like a cut and paste from the book. But what I wanted to do is I just wanted to go like a deeper level down, just go into my granular detail about my experiences and the pros and cons that I found about the sleep. And I suppose what I wanted to do is just talk about having come through like a lot of demanding jobs and running my own businesses as well as then being a closer, which is like obviously a high performance job where you want to give out as max effort. And the kind of pitfalls that I've gone through and kind of neglecting my sleep as well as other things, and the kind of, the way that it's kind of made me crash and whatnot. And I suppose what I wanted to do is just share those experiences to hopefully you can optimize your game quicker and get more benefit, as much benefit from, like a really structured lifestyle as you possibly could. Um, Obviously, like, be a student. Like, don't take what I'm saying as gospel. The more that I find out about sleep, the more I find out that it's a very personal thing, and what might work for some might not work for another. So all I can really do is speak from my experience. But then, if it doesn't really resonate with where you are with things, then that's perfectly fine. Just do your own test and adjust, test things out. Like as you might know, I take a sleep through the day. But I've also found out recently that if I get up super early, do some work admin for a couple hours, and then have a little sleep between like say 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, I get out of bed and I am just raring to go, and I've actually done a lot of work ready for the work ahead. So it's weird. You can have like a little super sleep at like, well, I can say 7:30 till 8, and I feel ready to take on the world. So and then the cycle. So sometimes I'll go through a day where I am just dead, and like I just know that there's not a lot I can do about it. I've just got to grizz out the day, and that's the way, and I'll feel better the next day, and I'll have a super deep sleep. And like, that's fine. That's just my body. You can journal it. You can look at like things you did in terms of lifestyle, um, beforehand to cause it. Maybe nutrition, things like that. So uh, it's, and you just might notice that every couple of weeks you do get like some sort of big dip, and that's your body just doing a bit of a slow sort of slow recycle, so to speak, or for want of a better word. Yeah, so I suppose like going up, reading this verbatim, as I was in the army, I was in the police, had my own gyms, things like that, and it was very much a case of in the army, just smash, smash, smash. Especially like I was a PTI in the army, so for those who don't know what that is, that's like a physical training instructor. So like the army just wants to push you as hard as you can, and then those who are open to it, you can just like embrace it with open arms, and that's what I certainly did. And I came out of the army in 2013, 12, 13, set up my own business as a gym, personal trainer first, and that mindset of um, just 10x what other people do, and then you'll get the results. And that did work when it comes from like your fitness side of things. But the difference I found in the army is that you'll go on like a long operation or exercise, but then you'll have some downtime, and you'll be able to cycle like the high levels of output with some like downtime, and you still, there's no demands on you. You do your job in the army, and then they just say, right, okay, the depot's shutting down now. Go and see your family for a few weeks or a month, or things like that. And then you don't have any choice. You don't need to just keep going to pay the bills or anything like that, because your bills are paid in the army and things. So I'm just obviously, like I said, talking from my own experience. So what I found then is like a cycle of, or shall I say, a strategy of overdo it, overdo it, overdo it to get the result. Doesn't really hold up to a different lifestyle whereby, there's no real, as like a business owner, there's no real stop. There's no real pause like there would have been in the army. And what that I tend to find is that over the space of doing that for a couple of years, I really went into a bit of a flat spin and kind of burnt out in 2016, where I just had to just take months off work because I was just like completely emptied. And I look at photos, and back in 2016, I probably looked about 5 years older than I do today, because I was just completely just not looking after myself. And I even got to a stage, like it says here, whereby I was kind of neglecting myself in my sales life as well. I'd get up at 7 a.m. and I was absolutely dead on my feet by 9 a.m., like really bad. And I even went to see somebody about it, and they said, just avoid these foods and things like that. And that helped to a certain degree, but it wasn't like the be all and end all. But then, I kind of said, like, well, if I'm tired, was it maybe something to do with my sleep? And so I bought a book called Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, and it was just, I took a week out, went somewhere sunny, looked after myself for a little bit, and really obeyed what this guy had to say in terms of sleep. And I have no word of a lie, guys. If it just completely changed my life. And so, if you take one thing from this book, it is just obey your sleep. Understand, because your sleep is where you get your rest, your recovery. So use an analogy, of a car. If you're just revving it and screaming around it, 80 mile, 90 mile an hour all the time, and you're not changing the oil, the water, the tires, giving the engine a break or whatever, then what's going to happen to the car? You know, it stands to reason the same thing's going to happen with your body. Okay, so like like I said, be a student. If these things don't resonate with you, then that's fine. Like earplugs, they work for me because I get a lot of wildlife where I live. I wish I could say I lived in the country. I don't. I live in the city, but there's loads of pigeons around by me, and they just keep me awake. They get going at like 6 a.m. and I'm not generally up till half 6. Or if I'm having like a doze or something like that, they're just cutting about, make me noisy. So I use earplugs. All right. Light and light blockers doesn't affect me too bad, but I would say that these are, legitimate sort of pre, uh, I suppose, precautions to not getting enough melatonin. And what I mean by that is like light blockers, like off a laptop screen, things like that, will stop your melatonin production. And there's two, I think they call it adenosine or desinosine, and melatonin are the two hormones that like kind of, there's two like loops or systems that work together to make you sleepy. And so you're missing out on one of those loops working, and it'll stop you from sleeping. If you Well, it won't stop you, but it'll reduce your quality of sleep if you, and it'll increase the time it takes to sleep if you don't, if your melatonin is too low. So okay, so play your sleep patterns. Okay, so like the way that I work is, why my optimal is like I go to bed at 10, get up at 6, or 10:30 till 6:30. Like I said, I might have a power dose, or I'll have a sleep at like 1:30 or for half an hour, or if I'm tired, even like 45-minute sleep sometime during the day. I get up, I'm hot to trot, then I'm ready to go. If you've got a lot on your mind, and sorry, just before I move on, so like everybody's slightly different, okay? And people are genetically hardwired to go to bed earlier or later. You can't really choose it. You've just got your own 24 hours in the day whereby it makes sense for you to sleep. And like your sleep cycle of circa 8 hours, it has deep sleep for the first 4 hours and light sleep for the next four normally. So that basically means, guys, if you try and move your 8 hours within your 24-hour circadian rhythm, you're going to be either missing out on light or deep sleep, all right, which is not good. So you're just going to have to play. I would advise obeying your sleep pattern and creating a lifestyle around it, rather than putting your sleep around your lifestyle. Um, so caffeine, alcohol, they reduce the capacity to sleep through blocking receptors in the brain. And then what I do, guys, is I use melatonin. I was introduced to it by a coach, lifestyle coach, and I didn't take to it at first, but I was taking two small quantities, only like 1 or 2 or maybe 3 milligrams. They got to be, like, I'm not a doctor. I do not recommend you do this. I'm just telling you what I do. This isn't medical advice, but I would literally take between 10 to 12 milligrams, and I sleep like an absolute baby. Probably the best thing I ever did was take melatonin. I'm not saying that, if I will it have stopped me from getting sleep if I stopped taking it? I don't know. Okay, but all I know is that in a busy lifestyle whereby we do take stimulants, we do watch, TV late at night, we do have like a light screen when there is a deficit of melatonin being produced, then I find it's a great aid to bringing my melatonin up. But like I say, I'm not a medical practitioner. I'm just saying like what I do. So yeah, if I could summarize kind of sleep, okay, if it's not high up your priorities list, really put up your priorities list, because it's the thing that's going to keep you in the game for longer. Is getting good rest. If you don't, it's just going to take its toll on you in the long run. And really put like a structure in place. You know, the ambient temperature. I don't know if we touched on that as well, but ambient temperature. Make sure that you're not too hot, you're not too cold. You cutting out the ambient noise, the ambient light. I even honestly, guys, I block out. I've got blockers on my bedroom windows so it doesn't let any daylight in. I just went overhaul on it, on doing everything to get good sleep, and it worked. And now I'm reticent to release any of the things. I still just do. If I know that I'm getting a good rest, I'll do these things. Like even cut my caffeine down, so I'll have one in the morning, and then because of the half life of caffeine, I'll not have one then till after I have my dose, and then I'll have like a mini coffee then after my dose to give me a pep for in the afternoon, but it won't stop me from sleeping at night. All right, guys. Hope you get some value from this. Like I said, sleep is the thing that's going to keep you in the straight and narrow. I fully recommend that you get quality sleep into your life.